Light. Light suffusing all. Eternal, undying, infinite. Names beyond counting does this place have in the timeless time in which it existed. But in your tongue, Exandrian, let us simply call it Tengar, the Eternal Palace. Behold endless ramparts and hallways of spinning stars, a nebula so vast that light would age 1,000 lifetimes of its origin to cross from the threshold to the ending of this palace. Let us imagine beings of infinite possibility and endless wonder, populating the vast and joyous caverns, chambers, hallways, ramparts, all of the chapels and unending mystery that this eternal palace has to offer those that have always dwelt herein. Shimmering light, beings of wonder, whose potential, having never touched the real, is limitless. Within this place, we must describe for you, in words that mortals can comprehend, what you have come now to witness. In Tengar, the Eternal Palace, past the hallway of the unbroken shard, where one can spy the quill of infinites, that which writes those worlds that have yet never been, we see a small parade of twinkling lights. These lights that we now behold are, to us, inhuman. But of course, this realm has never known the touch of humans. So, let us instead give it a name that we might understand it. Sparkling light traveling down a hall, we see it, a kaleidoscoping ephemera of twinkling lights moving through the palace towards the Orchard of Possibility, as once it was called. It reaches up, plucks the fruit. You say, wait.
Wait. Give it a chance.
A moment too late. Oh. The dune's shimmering form ceases. Each point of light is fixed. Oh.
What is happening?
I'm sorry. I think I'm going away.
What is that? What? What is away?
A point of lightlessness rests in the middle of the orchard. Do any other spirits nearby hear or see this event?
Oh, yes. I feel like I had not a dream. I feel like I had a desire for something new and I guess terrible. I remember wanting something. I've been trying to turn myself inside out for I don't know how long, and I'm a little Ouroboros of bits of light that are clearly trying to fall into each other's own black hole as they slowly make their way around themselves, and it's like a molecular orbit, if such a thing. And this is new.
You arrive as other spirits begin to gather from nearby. You see that another spirit, Hailey, comes by. She moves as shifting color, who leaves imprints of herself behind her, suspended backwards to show the way that she has come in light. She comes through and goes, something new? Did you do this?
I wish.
Okay.
This is all Haunted?
I think it would be best for me to go get Eden from whatever this is.
Wait,
It's all right.
no,
I can get him. She touches the point of lightlessness, is frozen, and you hear noise from elsewhere in Tengar. The endless images of herself stretching throughout space are falling into nothingness behind her, like a row of dominoes falling and vanishing as they hit the floor. I'll miss you. And she is gone. A far tower crumbles.
She is away.
what's happening?
She is away.
It doesn't.
Impossible.
It's not real.
What is...
Broken. Frightened. As looming over you, monstrous figures who see that you have come to their domain. A different time in a different place. The town of Hawks Hill.
Oh my god.
That's what we call a hard cut, folks. Everyone get a little bit of water? Everyone good?
Oh God! Wow. What's
water?
What am this?
What am this?
Who am I?
Ashley, would you describe your character for us?
Sure. You see a human woman, late 30s, sort of dark brown auburn hair with bits of white throughout. Tanned skin, freckles everywhere. You'd miss her in a crowd. But there's kindness in her eyes. She has on a very large overcoat that she grabbed as she left her home. That belongs to her husband, Amaris. And she is walking forward.
Walking by your side. Nick, would you please describe your character?
A young, mid to late teens human male walks beside you. Brown eyes, brown hair, shield that doesn't look like it's his, though he wears it on his back comfortably. And he walks with a staff with etchings of the moon and stars towards the top. And he looks down and gives Gilly, your dog, a scratch behind the ears.
A big mountain-like rescue dog. They're like big bear-looking dogs. Gilly.
Come here.
And comes over and nuzzles you, sort of looking around. Gilly's always excited to meet people, and there's so many people here. Walking in from the edge of the camp, Laura, would you please describe your character for me?
Sure. You see a human woman walking in soft green robes, creams, sensible leathers, with rich brown hair, walking next to an older man, in a conversation with him pleasantly, at the same time kind of looking up to the skies, looking around. And then she holds her arm up and a black raven lands on her arm.
Your protector and guardian turns to look at you, a mantle of raven feathers over his shoulder. He smiles. You can see he looks older, tired. Says, no, plenty for the little lovey to eat. In a place like Hawks Hill, that midden heap's got to be at least 12 feet high.
Maybe you should go and get into trouble.
Raven flies off. Talesin, would you go ahead and describe your character?
She's an elf. Young, but it's hard to pin down because she's clearly had a hard life. Her skin is ashen, and her hair, once dark, has begun to gray in patches, and clearly not healthy. Clearly eats only when she can. And clearly a farmer. Possibly a hunter, considering what she has. Her eyes are a very bright yellow. And her clothes seem like they were once possibly somewhat grand. They have some beautiful embroidery in them, and comfortable and flowing, but old, very old, and put back together with care. No shoes. And her expression is somewhere else. Not sad, not angry, not nervous, just somewhere else. And, yeah.
A herald of sorts that steps now from the ship. Abba, would you describe your character?
He is an Aeormatron. Beautiful. The way his frame works is you don't know where it starts and where it ends. It's almost like a painting. And there's these gold and like sort of speckles that are kind of adorning his body, the frame, and they kind of move a bit every now and then. Very, very sort of regal in look. Orange eyes. And he sort of walks down, taking in everything. And he sort of addresses, denizens of Hawk Hill, we have come to collect foodstuffs and raw material supplies for the might of Aeor. Please allow the representatives of the Majesty to do their work. After food and supplies have come aboard, then those seeking refuge will be allowed to petition our proctors of the Dorian Guard. Priority will be given to those capable of labor. If you are not chosen, you will be given an emblem of sanctuary. Those with the most emblems will be taken after laborers. If you are sick or wounded, your emblem will not count. If you accost any member of this crew or delay them in their efforts, your emblems will be removed. Please come through.
Taurian guard, Aeorian mage knights begin to walk down the landing pad and fan out through the city and begin to inspect this long train of wagons filled with food, stone, raw material. Some of the wagons have rare minerals, precious metals, gems, things that the mage rights and spellcrafters of Aeor need for a project. Something that they now work on in secret. You're a big lady. And she looks down at him, sort of raises an eyebrow over to you. A wolf lopes out of the shadow. Amira, you see your champion walk out. Word's starting to spread through the camp. I think people suspect that this might be the last ship that comes through.
And there will be chaos. Purvonn,
Yes.
can you do me one last service?
anything for all time.
Do you see that family?
Yes?
The 2 children.
Yes.
Get them out of here safely.
It will be done. He smiles. You see that the captain of the Aeorian vessel says, I cannot be more clear. No emblem of the gods will make its way aboard this ship, nor the city of Aeor. If it is the gods you worship, then have them, and their choked sky, and their ruined land. What hope remains for mortals in Exandria remains because of Aeor's might. Aeor alone will see you through. Do you wish to come aboard without her? You see that the 2 other gnomes look and say, my aunt, she, you see he goes, will she divest herself of that idol? You see this old gnomish woman with strewn emblems of sanctuary around her, looks up and says, I've made every step in the light of the Dawn Father. I will not now make one without him. And you see that the captain says, you make steps in his light, and gestures to the cloudy, ash-filled sky. And you see that she smiles and looks up and looks some clearly broken bone on the ground, just goes, Captain, clouds and ash, they cover the sky, but I promise you, the sun is still on the other side. What cannot be seen is not gone forever. Removing the front effortlessly, we see the last member of your band that you expect now. Silaha, you are also aware that time is of the essence because this can only be done before you cross that threshold that you now approach. As the covering is removed, patient and eternal, Noshir, would you please describe the final of our band that we now see in the moment before whatever is to come?
The crate comes open, and inside is what appears to be a massive slab of stone encased in ice. And then there's a sound that emanates through the mind, like a gate shutting and a gong sounding and a scream as the contents pour out and pool at the feet of Asha. A light starts to build in the stone, and slowly a figure starts to emerge. Ice, a face that is devoid of mouth, holes where eyes should be, windswept. Rock starts to crack and break and form into plates of carapace over the shoulders and chest, and inside the chest there is a thrumming boom, 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 as light peeks in, as the rock shifts and moves, until finally there is a massive figure huddled at her feet, bent over, and you can feel loss
and confusion and heartbreak. And then it stops. And slowly, the emissary turns its face to Asha.
I was a little more comfortable in the dark, but not my temple, I guess. I didn't have a face to smash. Puts the sword on her back.
I look at the priest and say, he would have words with you if he were here.
I am, as ever, an open channel for the Lord of the Sun. Let him speak to me if he would. It has been a joy to sow his light. Hello, family. Arcadia steps forward. We come now to the city of Aeor. You see the priest of the Dawn Father flits his eyes in between you, looking as he looks over at you. Seems to...
I'm hanging towards the back.
You see Arcadia perhaps our time together should be kept short and useful. A truce has been called to dispense with the city of Aeor. Much has been gleaned since last we spoke. Last I beheld you all, it was at the outset of the city of Aeor's ability to hide itself from our view and repel our approach. By workings of magic that, at the time, staggered even our imagination. Steps were taken to hide themselves from us. Knowing what we knew, we could assume only the worst of why those steps would be taken. If they had the power to hide themselves, to abjure us, what else might they have the power to do? The halfling lands and moves over to sit on the bottom step, them in the kind of altar and you guys at the doorway to this larger cathedral chamber. And you see she says, "Who knows? They might do something crazy, like kill a god. Imagine that." You see Milo looks at you, looks over at you. You are not a god. Someone got cold feet. She knows something I don't know.
Probably.
Well, that makes two of you that aren't gods.
And two of you who are missing.
It's like herding cats. You'd be amazed what the moniker of betrayer will do to people's sense of cohesion. Well, Let's spill. You see that Arcadia says, as I have said, the problems that array themselves before us are the possibility that the knowledge will be moved out of the city, the Aerovox protocol. The second is the Obtenebrator. That is preventing divine sight. Once the Obtenebrator is brought down, those of our brethren on the outside can begin to assist us. My understanding, based on my own visions, is that once the Obtenebrator is down, it might get very windy. Flight out of the city will become impossible.
Windy? How? Why?
Our brother does not have to come here in person to send the storm. And the Factorum Malleus. The only wrench here is what they may know about us. And that is where Salaha comes in. We need to find out who from our side may have told them, and may have told them what. If it's something as simple as the gods are working their way towards Aeor, they can have guessed that by now. If it's more specific, down to names, faces, how we planned to get around things that were impossible to get around, that becomes very tricky. We don't have time, I think, to do this one by one. And it's too large of a group to move inconspicuously throughout the city. You see that Tishar says, the four of us can be one.
No.
No. So brave.
The bravest of us.
You see that Father Milo says, my goodness, are you a cleric of the Everlight, young Aiden?
I stick up for my family.
I'm just glad she's still got a worshiper. Fine. We'll split up if you don't trust us out on our own. Go team. She sort of somersaults and skitters off, and you see that Arcadia smiles, looks up at the restored temple, looks at you, to the heart of Aeor, to disarm them of the weapon they would use to destroy the gods. One way or another, this will be our last night as mortals. And that's all for this episode of Critical Role.